Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets have just come to an agreement to run it back for another season and not try to trade either KD or Kyrie Irving before the next season comes to a close, or at least until we get partway through and see what this roster can do. And the idea, in theory, is that KD, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons will all be healthy, they'll all play together, they'll all compete for a championship, and then they'll just walk off into the sunset like nothing ever happened. And for some reason, Brooklyn Nets fans seem to actually believe in this fantasy, and trust me, as a Sixers fan, I understand being incredibly unrealistic about how good your team can be going into the next season. But the fact is, the Brooklyn Nets are probably about to be the biggest dumpster fire in the NBA, and that's saying a lot when the Lakers still have Russell Westbrook. Let's look at what Kevin Durant has done for this team since getting here, okay? He had them sign both him and Kyrie Irving because they're buddies, and then Kyrie Irving has continued to be a problem constantly since then. He wouldn't get the vaccine, he goes out to random parties, he doesn't want to play games, he doesn't want to talk to the media, he's just a big old pain in the butt, normal Kyrie Irving stuff. He had them fire the old coach, who everybody on the team liked, and get Steve Nash, who has not done a good job. He had them not only sign DeAndre Jordan, who shouldn't even be in the NBA anymore, but play him at the starting center spot over Jared Allen, who has now become an all-star in Cleveland, because when Jared Allen was justifiably annoyed to be playing behind someone who shouldn't even be in the league, then he had him and Karis LeVert traded. They got James Harden because of Kevin Durant, and then James Harden left and they got Ben Simmons. And guess what? Ben Simmons doesn't want to play basketball either. So every single thing that has gone wrong with this team has been directly because of Kevin Durant and what he wanted done. And now he's going to sit there and say he doesn't like the GM or the way the team's going, and he doesn't like the coach, and he wants the GM and the coach gone. And thankfully, the Nets finally decided to say, no, we're just going to try to trade you instead. But because, once again, Kevin Durant is a moron, he waited to announce this trade desire until after the draft. You're Kevin Durant. You know you're one of the most valuable players who has ever lived, which is why you think you have this much power. But teams cannot afford to trade for you when you are on a 4-year contract in your prime, when the NBA draft has already come and passed. Nobody can afford Kevin Durant, and so now here he is, still stuck with this team. Kyrie Irving is also still with the team because nobody wants him because he's the worst head case in the entire NBA, hands down. Except for the Lakers, of course, who wanted to just give you Russell Westbrook for him because they don't have any assets either. Ben Simmons is on the team. Who knows if he plays at the start of the season? He might, or maybe his back will be quote-unquote hurting again. Or maybe he will play, but then he just won't actually do anything because he's Ben Simmons and he's gotten even more in his head after being babied for the last year and a half. We don't know. But what we do know, okay, what I can almost guarantee you, and feel free to come back and tell me if I'm wrong, I might be jinxing the Nets in the right direction here. I do this all the time with teams. Maybe they're going to come out and they're going to win like 60 games, and Kyrie and Ben Simmons are both going to play every single game. Ben Simmons is going to suddenly shoot threes, and Kyrie Irving's going to stop being a total nut job, and Kevin Durant is going to play great in the playoffs and redeem himself, and they're going to win a championship. But what's most likely going to happen, in my opinion, is that Kyrie Irving's going to play like 40 games, like he does most seasons. He's going to have a bunch of weird controversy around him where he still won't get the vaccine, and he randomly does stuff off the court that's really weird, and then he makes some real passive-aggressive comments at the media. And Ben Simmons is going to continue to be a complete head case, made worse by the fact that he is now with the other biggest head case in the league. Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons, being two of the most stubborn and just plain weird players in the league, are not going to make each other better. They're only going to make each other worse. They're going to sit there and feed off each other, and they're going to tell each other in the locker room how it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you. You do you. You look out for yourself, blah, 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 which would normally be a good thing, but it's not a good thing when it's just you screwing over your entire team and everybody in the league who's trying to watch you play basketball. So Kevin Durant's going to be left to carry this team mostly by himself. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. I don't want to see him get hurt. But as he does this, his reputation's just going to continue to go down. And now the general manager and the coach both don't like him and know that he doesn't like them. You think Steve Nash's coaching is going to improve now that he knows Kevin Durant wanted him gone? I seriously doubt it. I doubt the rest of the team is going to take too kindly to it either. They've got to already be fed up with Kevin Durant. I'm sure they're already fed up with Kyrie Irving because he abandons the team like every other week. I'm sure they're already fed up with Ben Simmons, who left the flippin' group chat when they asked him if he was going to play against the Celtics in Game 4 last year. And now they're going to be fed up with Kevin Durant, who is the reason that all these problems are happening, and just tried to dip like it wasn't his fault. I cannot see a world where this team is not an absolute mess. As a Sixers fan, who has been saying this for the last several years now that this team was going to be a disaster, I can't wait to watch it. It makes me kind of sad for Nets fans. I really do feel bad for you guys. I know what it's like to have a franchise that's just continually teetering on the verge of greatness, only to slip and fall flat on its face at the last second, and then get back up again and then do the same thing. It happens all the time. Being a Sixers fan is tiring. But I think it's going to be really fun to watch. You've got the Lakers in the West and the Nets in the East. Two failed super teams, quote-unquote, that were supposed to be super teams, and everyone with a brain knew from the start they were never going to work out. This team is going to be an absolute disaster, and I'm very excited to see the start of the season and see how many, I don't know if I can even say months, I might just say how many weeks it takes for the cracks to start to show even more publicly, before Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving or Ben Simmons, one of them, or even Steve Nash or the GM, before somebody on the team starts making little passive-aggressive comments. And then we see little things in the game where people are fighting with each other, where they're arguing, and then somebody walks off the court. I think it's going to be a freaking media fest. It's going to be hilarious, and I hope you're all ready to join me with popcorn in hand to watch the Brooklyn Nets absolutely implode this season.